Yes, total population is still growing from 8 billion today to a peak of probably 9 or 10 billion. But when we track total increase, we're looking at this star that seems to be shining brightly, but in actuality has already imploded.
Every headline screams population collapse crisis. But what if the end of growth is actually the beginning of something better? Right now, humanity stands at 8.2 billion people, more than double what it was in 1960. But beneath the surface boom, the foundations are shifting. Fertility rates have plunged almost everywhere. In the 1960s, women worldwide had an average of 5 children. Today, just 2.3. In East Asia, it's barely 1.3. Even countries once booming with births are now seeing their populations age faster than ever before. Fewer kids, longer lives, smarter humans. And somehow we are supposed to freak out. Sure, it makes sense. For decades, we've been told that fewer people means economic disaster. Fewer workers, fewer ideas, slower progress. Yet a growing body of research suggests that the very forces causing this decline, education, prosperity and equality, might actually be the ingredients of a more sustainable, balanced and creative world. So what if population decline isn't a global tragedy, but humanity's next great evolution? Could shrinking numbers be the key to saving our planet and ourselves? Share your thoughts below. And before we continue, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video so you won't miss our upcoming Global Myths Exposed series. I'll be honest with you, for most of my life I assumed that a shrinking population would bring imminent negative effects on the global economy, but as I've looked closer, I'm starting to wonder if that's really the case. If you also want to know how population decline could actually save humanity and our planet, watch till the end. For most of history, humanity's story followed the same rhyme: birth, growth and expansion. But now, the rhyme is changing. We've entered what demographers call the demographic transition model. The journey from booming populations to steady and now shrinking ones.
In the early stages, both birth and death rates were sky high. Then came modern medicine, cleaner water, and better food. Deaths fell, but births stayed high, sending populations soaring. By the mid-20th century, the world exploded from 3 billion to over 8 billion today. But the engine that drove that boom is slowing fast. Sub-Saharan Africa still averages 4.3 children per woman, but East Asia and the Pacific have fallen to just 1.3, far below the replacement rate of 2.1. In 1965, births outpaced deaths by over 2% a year. Today, that gap has nearly vanished.
We've entered stage 5, population decline. But here is a twist. What if this isn't the beginning of collapse, but the start of balance? For years, headlines have painted a grim picture: aging nations, shrinking workforces and empty towns. Politicians warn of demographic collapse, claiming fewer people mean economic ruin. But what if this fear is based on outdated math?
The so-called dependency crisis assumes that every retiree is a burden and every childless home a loss. Yet modern economies are far more flexible than that. In countries like Japan and Germany, retirement systems such as pensions and superannuation funds have reduced dependence on younger taxpayers. Meanwhile, having fewer children means governments spend less on education and childcare, savings that help offset the rising costs of aging. And here's another overlooked fact. Older adults are working longer, healthier, and more productively than ever before. In the United States, the share of people aged 65 and older still employed has nearly doubled since 1990. Many are shifting from physical labor to knowledge-based work, mentoring, or part-time innovation.
In other words, the problem isn't fewer people, it's falling to adapt. Humanity doesn't need endless growth to sustain prosperity. What it needs is smarter design for a world where quality, not quantity, drives progress. So, do you think a smaller population could actually make life better? Or is it a risk we can't afford? Share your opinion in the comments. Here is the uncomfortable truth. 8 billion people consume far more than the Earth can regenerate. Every year, humanity uses up natural resources much faster than the planet can replace them. A silent overdraft on nature's account. The result is visible everywhere.
According to environmental researcher Stephanie Feldstein, wildlife populations have dropped by 69% in just 50 years. Between 70 and 97% of Earth's land has already been altered by human activity. And if current trends continue, ecosystem collapse could cost the global economy up to $2.7 trillion a year by 2030. This is why a slowing population might not be a crisis at all, but a quiet relief. Fewer people mean less pressure on forests, cleaner oceans, and more room for nature to heal. It's not the end of progress. It's a pause that gives the planet time to breathe. China shows this contrast vividly. Its population has begun to shrink, yet pollution and overconsumption remain immense, proving that sustainability depends not just on numbers, but on habits and choices.
But the benefits of this demographic shift go beyond the environment. They reach deep into our societies, reshaping how we live and work. Fewer births often mean more choices, especially for women. As fertility rates fall, something powerful happens. Opportunity expands. Across the world, nations with smaller families see higher education levels, stronger economies, and greater gender equality.
In the 1960s, the global average woman had over 5 children. Today, that number is below 2.3. And the social transformation has been profound. Studies show that declining fertility is closely linked to a rise in women's education and workforce participation. When families invest in fewer children, they can invest more in each one, improving quality of life across generations. According to the United Nations, countries with slower population growth are projected to see per capita incomes rise by more than 10% by 2055. In China, millions of educated women are choosing freedom, careers, and self-development over traditional expectations, reshaping what success and family mean in modern life.
One thing is that when societies stop growing endlessly, they start growing intelligently. The age of quantity is driving away on the age of equality, where innovation, education, and quality replace expansion as a measure of progress. Population decline isn't the end of progress, it's progress redefining itself. Bloomberg recently noted, the population will challenge our old economic models, but that's exactly why it could save them. For centuries, economists assumed that growth depends on one thing: more people. More workers, more consumers, more production. But thinkers like Jennifer Suba, Dean Spears, and Michael Garuso argue that this era is ending.
The future belongs to nations that can thrive with fewer people, not depend on endless expansion. So how do we adapt? Automation and artificial intelligence are already filling labor gaps, allowing smaller populations to maintain high productivity. Longer, healthier working lives are redefining retirement, keeping experience and wisdom in the workforce. Migration is becoming a stabilizer, balancing regions that are shrinking with those still growing. And new degrowth economic models are shifting the focus from constant consumption to sustainability, equality, and well-being. As demographer Dean Spears puts it, it's not a solution to ask anyone to have more children than they want, it's society's task to lift the burdens of caretakers.
The challenge ahead isn't surviving population decline, it's reinventing prosperity itself, providing that smarter, fairer, and greener economies can flourish even in a smaller world. For generations, we believed growth was the ultimate measure of success. More people, more output, more everything, but maybe humanity's next great leap isn't about expansion at all, it's about reflection. The illusion of infinite growth on a finite planet is fading, revealing something deeper. Progress doesn't always mean bigger, sometimes it means better. History's most stable societies weren't the fastest growing, they were the most balanced. As populations level off, we face a rare opportunity to redesign what prosperity means. Imagine economies that measure success not by GDP, but by health, education, equality, and sustainability. Imagine a world where human potential matters more than sheer numbers. Perhaps population decline isn't a warning sign, but a turning point, a reminder that evolution doesn't stop. It simply changes direction. The question is, will we adapt to this new era or cling to a system built for a world that no longer exists? What do you think? Can humanity thrive without endless growth? If you enjoy this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video so you won't miss our upcoming Global Myths Exposed series. Catch you in the next one.